News and Talk, WAOK Women's History Month series, Woman to Woman. Conversations with Juandolyn Stokes. She sits down with Dr. Maria Boynton. Dr. Boynton is the news brand manager and public affairs director for Odyssey Atlanta. She's also the host of Atlanta Up Close with Dr. Maria Boynton. She's featured in the true crime series Real Murders of Atlanta on the Oxygen and Peacock networks. With 40 years in media, news, TV, and radio. And now, Woman to Woman. Conversations with Juandolyn Stokes and Dr. Maria Boynton.
Hi, I'm Juandolyn Stokes, host of On Point with Juandolyn Stokes. And, March is Women's History Month. And this month, we will be shining the light on some amazing women. And we'll be talking woman to woman. And so I'm so glad to have with me today to share the one and the only Dr. Maria Boynton. How are you doing today?
Hey, Juandolyn, I am awesomely feeling great today. And thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. This is a leading lady and a living legend. 40 plus years in journalism, media.
Really? Wow, the years do fly. And I feel only 23.
Right. Well, you look 23.
Well, thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just a blessing. And I'm so honored because I've admired you for years. Now, even before you came to Odyssey, because right now here at Odyssey Atlanta, serving as the news brand director and also public affairs director here. And you have a staff and team, and you're always so busy in the community and covering news and reporting and talking to us about what's happening across the world. So, Maria, before you really got started here at Odyssey Atlanta, tell us about that journey from New York to Atlanta and Atlanta to New York.
Well, the journey actually started in Albany, Georgia.
Wow.
I was a student at Albany State University, the Albany State University, and started there. And then I got the call to come home to Columbus, Georgia, and I did some news there. And then I wound up in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia News Network and WGST Radio. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I wound up saying I do to a gentleman, and we moved north. And before we moved north, I did a quick few months at CNN.
Okay.
And then we got the call to come to New York, and so we moved, and I wound up working in New York City, a writer for WCBS, on air at WOR, and so I had stepsons, and so when the call beckoned, and there they have different rules in terms of how you deal with your children, and so when it came time for one of us, we said that one of us would be on the side closest to home because the children could need us. I decided to stay on that side, and I started doing more news in Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've worked.
Wow, you've been busy.
Yes, I have. And so then after, lost my husband, came back to Georgia. So this was my second stint at CNN.
Okay.
And then we did some news at, we helped to flip a music station to an all-news station here in Atlanta, Georgia. I worked there for a couple of years and then started getting these messages that CBS Radio Atlanta wanted to talk to me. I'm like, really? And so, and there it began, my career which started at CBS, turned into Entercom, and is now known as Odyssey.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. So take us back to those days at Albany State. Is that where you pledged?
Delta Sigma Theta. Yes, Delta Rho Chapter. Thank you, Juandolyn, for acknowledging that. Yes, that's where I pledged. I had a line of, there were 16 of us, Sweet 16.
Wow.
And I was number 5, Sugar and Spice. Yeah, that was us.
Wow, that's great. And so now you're part of the board at Albany State. Are you a part of that?
Oh,
as
wow,
well?
you did your research.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Don't you love it?
Yes.
Don't you love being prepared?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for the Albany State University. It's great to be able to extend the love for your university because, of course, I've been a part of the alumni chapters for years, ever since I graduated. And when I was in Albany, I was a member of a chapter there. When I was in Columbus, I was a member of a chapter there. In Atlanta, I'm a member of chapters here. So that's the way I've always done it. And so when they asked me to be a part of the Board of Trustees, I said, of course. And we have our Blue and Gold Gala coming up on April 5th. And I am the hostess for that.
Wow, that's amazing. So now, while you were at Albany State, you majored in speech, right?
Speech and theater,
Theater. So would you say that in news, it involves a little drama and creativity.
Drama to the nth degree, exactly. Because, they don't have the TV.
Right.
We show them more of I want to say sometimes we become action stars, right?
That's true.
Because we are out there, whether we're in the streets or wherever we are, we're showing them exactly what the story entails. We're giving it to them. We're utilizing our vocal cords to put that inflection into it all and to be able to clearly give them what the story is about. And I was talking to your producer, Chantel, and I was telling her, I said, you weren't here yet, but I was in some trees. I said the adventure of just being that radio reporter to where people are saying, wait a minute, this is a radio station. Why am I watching radio right now? Of course, social media has blessed us with the ability to be able to go out and shoot and run and say, yeah, that car ran through some trees, and here's the car. And we talk about that particular day. It was a few years ago, pre-pandemic, where there was a stolen vehicle, had several passengers in it, went down Capitol Ave, and it almost, hit 85, but it got stopped in the trees.
Oh my
and
God.
So we were in the trees and showing the people what was going on, and TV was coming up saying, okay, where we at? I said, I'm right here. So it's great. There's a lot of adventure. You have the George Floyd situations, the Ahmaud Arbery stories.
Yes.
We were out there, boots on the ground, showing people what was going on, trying to stay out. Of course, when the the police cars start being set on fire, we of course say, okay, I think it's time to not be so adventurous right now, Maria. But yeah, there's a lot of adventure to what I do. Every day is a different day, whether I'm utilizing the sound that you hear me using, whether you're utilizing the video that you see me posting, or whatever I'm doing. It's still an adventure for me each and every day.
Wow. And so that is extended because not only do you do news in journalism, but you've kind of been doing some other things like with the Oxygen Network or even in the past with Netflix. Talk to us about those.
Wow, you really did. Well, actually, I forgot about that one. Forgot about the Netflix one. But yeah, when it comes to the Oxygen Network, I am on Real Murders of Atlanta. I am I guess you can call me a reality TV drama journalist or whatever you want to call me. But yeah, when there are true, real murder mysteries or stories to talk about, they will call me in on some of those. And the one we just started with season 3.
Okay.
And we will be working on the Barney Sims case. We'll be discussing the Barney Sims case.
Oh, great.
He was a well-liked, well-respected member of the Atlanta community who was struck down in 2016 in his front yard. And that's a story that touches so many hearts because he was loved by so many leaders in the city of Atlanta.
Yes.
And then, of course, when you talk about Netflix, yes, it actually was a coworker who called me and said, hey, do you know that you're in the Gloria Allred Netflix special? And I said, no, I don't know that. But yeah, I'm also in that. It was one of those days when, you go out to events and the folks are running behind. And this was when Gloria Allred was in Atlanta, Cobb County, a few years back, and she was protesting comedian Bill Cosby.
Wow.
In terms of all the allegations that had been leveled against him by so many women. And she represented some of those women. And she had one of those women that day who had come out with her allegations. And they decided to come to Cobb County, Georgia. And I went to the area and was covering it. And I said, I'm going to leave because she's just taking too long. And so I went to my vehicle, and all of a sudden I look up, oh my goodness, that's Gloria Allred. And she was approaching my vehicle, and you see me in the film, Gloria Allred. You actually see the mic flag. You see me, and I was beyond shocked. And then she came back, and we discussed everything on another visit to Atlanta. And it's good to make that connection with Gloria Allred. So yeah, I'm doing a few things. I also MC and host, and I get paid to speak and things of that nature. I'm making a lot of friends in the community. People ask me, and they contract with me to do things for them, and it is an honor and a pleasure.
Did you ever think that you would be doing this right now and for so long? I mean, when you were at Albany State, did you think about all of this?
I got to tell you, Juandolyn, it's great that you asked that question. That is a great question because, we have Facebook. And so I have Facebook friends who remind me, when we were in high school, a young lady named Carol, we were on flag team together. She said, when we were in high school, you said you wanted to be a news reporter. I'm Maria Boynton. Wow. And she said, and wow, look at what you're doing. Wow. And then, you know, people remind you of so much that you did and how you made them feel. Just the other day, I had another high school classmate who said, after I posted about the Real Murders of Atlanta, season 3, he said, look at that quiet little smart girl who would be the only one to sit with me on the band bus. Oh my goodness, it tugged at my heartstrings. Wow. So the thing of the matter is, life continues, but there is someone in your life who is going to remind you of how you were to them. What's the saying? People might not remember the action, but they remember how you made them feel.
They sure do.
I am so blessed that so far I made people feel really good.
That's good, but that's what you do with your persona, your personality,
thank you, Juandolyn,
your intellect, your voice. It just captivates individuals. Tell us about those times when you covered a lot of presidential campaigns.
Well, I got to tell you, we're talking about Daddy Bush.
Okay.
And he came to Woodstock, and it was great to travel up to Woodstock to cover him. There were so many there. I mean, in terms of the coverage and covering, whether it's Daddy Bush, whether it's Kamala Harris. I mean, to be in Columbus, Georgia, her first stop in Georgia after the election, and to be there when the plane opened, Air Force Two, the plane door opened, and I'm like, I'm here. And she walks off and she waves, and we got a chance to question her. Those are the times that are really, really great because I'm talking to people who make history. I mean, I've interviewed quite a few people in my career. I remember traveling with future president, Bill Clinton.
Wow.
And he was traveling through to Macon, Georgia with former First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, and he couldn't go to Columbus, Georgia, but a young girl there, she wrote him a letter and said, I want you to have lunch with my class. He couldn't, but he invited them to Macon. He played the saxophone there. I was there to witness it. And so I did a piece on the young children who were there talking to Mr. Clinton, and won awards for that.
Wow.
Because it was a great day.
Okay.
The weather was awesome. Everybody was feeling great, looking great. I met Hillary Clinton that day, and when she ran for president, I was able to tell her about that. She said, oh my goodness, Maria, thank you so much for that memory.
Wow.
And I mean, you meet so many people in our career, Juandolyn, you really do. And whether it's former Mayor Ambassador Andrew Young, I mean, so many people. I remember John Lewis and the great Sue Ross, the great Susan Ross, sent me a memory the other day, and it was a memory of me singing Happy Birthday to Congressman John Lewis.
Oh my God.
Something that I could not recall.
Wow.
And I was one of the last in C.T. Vivian's home, Reverend C.T. Vivian's home, doing an interview with him. We talked about his days with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and what type of man he was and what he truly wanted for the world. And then, of course, we have Miss Abernathy, Juanita Abernathy. Her son, Kwanzaa will tell you, Kwame will tell you that I was one of the last to talk to her. Wow. He said she didn't talk to people, but when she saw you, it was almost as if she was like running towards me. She wanted to do that interview. So I had, if not one of the last interviews with her.
Wow.
We're talking about wonderful people of the civil rights movement. Dr. Joseph Lowery told me, are you related to Mrs. Boynton? I said, well, we're trying to make that connection. He said, you need to go and find out. And I did go to Selma, but she wasn't at church that day. And now we're connecting with her family to see if there is possibly some connection in the name Boynton. Certainly there has to be, right, Juandolyn?
Right, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I was actually named Juandolyn after them.
Okay.
After Juanita and the daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my aunt and uncle were members of the church, and he was part of the deacons, and they just loved that name. Yeah, this is awesome. You have been doing so much, touching the lives of so many. Tell us about that experience with your husband's transition.
Oh, wow. They told you about that one, too.
Yeah.
Well, that was a day that I will never forget.
Okay.
We were living in the Poconos. We had built our home in the Poconos, and I had gone to work on a Sunday evening. They had forecasted we were going to have ice upon ice. And so, you know me, being the news person, I left the night before, the Sunday before the Monday.
Yeah.
And I was out, you know, collecting, as we call it, sound and interviewing people who were out there prepping for the storm, whether it was someone laying gravel or whatever. You know, up in Pennsylvania, everything's a little bit different than it is down here. So, you know, just getting interviews and things of that nature. So I went in that Sunday night, talked to my husband, honey, you know, I'll call you tomorrow. And, you know, lo and behold, that Monday morning, none of my people could get in. None of my reporters could get in. None of my anchors. There were 4 radio stations, so I wound up doing news for all 4 stations. So by the time it was time for me to leave that day, I called my husband and said, honey, give me the doctor's number because I don't know if my throat is going to make it.
Okay.
And so I'd already informed my people that I don't think I'm coming back this week, so I'm going to go to the doctor and check my throat. And my husband was on the phone with me, and I could tell that he was breathing differently, Juandolyn.
Okay.
And you never know.
Never know.
You never know. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, that particular day, I said, honey, can you get the doctor's number for me? And he said, okay. And he said, just a minute. Those were the last words my husband spoke to me. And you know, and when he was talking to me, I had gotten on the phone, you know, in jest, playing with him. Hey, baby, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, being the cute little wife. Yeah. And so when he came back to the phone, he was trying to catch his breath. And I thought he was playing with me. And I said, hey, baby. And but my husband was having, the medical examiner told me that apparently the blood clot had hit his lung right then. And so, and you know, so he was transitioning on the phone with me. Yeah.
What do you say to women who have experienced similar stories, who have experienced the loss of their spouse? You know, what kept you moving in spite of? You know, how did you cope with all of that?
Well, I will tell you, a girlfriend of mine from CNN, when I came back to Georgia, honey, she had met her man, she had gotten married, had a baby, and stuff. And she told me to join one of those online dating services.
Okay.
Well, I did it. I can't do that. But because somebody said, go find you a husband. You know, because I was a young widow.
Yeah.
And so I would say take each day, one day at a time as you do your steps. And you're gonna cry. The emotions are gonna take over you. They're gonna overtake you some days.
Yeah.
But all you gotta do is just sit back and thank your maker. Thank those who love you. Thank those who care about you. Show them that you love them. There's enough of that to go around for everybody. Shucks. So let me tell you what I do. I go and I see my mama. I see my aunt, my uncles. I cook. I cook for them. So I have people say, you like to cook so much. Maybe you should be a chef. You know, maybe you should go to culinary school. You know, hey, that's a possibility. But what I will tell you is, you know, address it in your time, in your space. You know, people will try to tell you how to grieve. I'm sorry. You know, grieve in your own time.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, I did not remarry. Okay. And not that I won't. And it's been quite a few years now since it happened, but I'm okay, you know, being alone. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to call your man. My man's name is Netflix. It's okay to walk in the park, you know, alone. It's okay to sit back and just watch others enjoy. You know, I have my moments of glee. I have my moments of sadness. But I got to tell you, thank you, Jesus, for those moments that I have.
Yeah. And those moments just help to keep you going.
Yeah, they do.
And make you stronger one day at a time. So you love to cook?
I do. You know, my sister will tell you, she'll say, you're not a cake and pie person, not a cake and pie eater, but I do like the experience of seeing how the different flavors intermingle and create something that is so beautiful, like a chocolate cake with the frosting that's drizzled over it. You know, oh my goodness, it is, delectable.
Wow.
Delectable. Or if I'm doing something as just easy as a baked spaghetti, I mean, that is awesome. If I'm making a homemade ravioli with or a lasagna, I mean, those are dishes that, you know, that good spice.
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness, girl.
Wow.
My mother tells me, okay, I'm going to talk in the dialect of my mother. And she says, you came down here and you runned them. That's what you did. You just come down here and you run those people. And she's talking about her siblings, her sisters and her brothers. Because when I come down, I might do some fish or whatever. And she says, they don't call to see how I'm doing. Have you heard from Rhea? When's she coming back? So yeah, I do like to cook.
Wow, does it relax you? Is it
You
good
know
therapy
what?
for
And
you?
that's what she says. My mother says, I just think she just likes being in that kitchen because she goes in there for breakfast and now we're on lunch and then she's preparing dinner. So yeah, I think it does relax me. It makes me feel good. One, that I'm helping others and I'm making them happy because I'm filling their bellies, you know? And when you got a full belly, baby feeling good. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, definitely. Listen,
Yeah.
we all got to go to her home and eat a meal. But we'll come back to that.
Invites are in the mail.
Just wait on them, right? Maria, you know, what's a typical day for you?
Oh, wow.
Like weekdays, you know, you're up at tell us about it, because you're covering all these radio stations, you know, reporting the news. News comes in 24 hours a day. What's a typical day like in your life?
Well, you know, you do have to, you know, make that space. You have to decide what you can do and what you can't do. If not, you know, my wigs will be on the floor. I'll be looking like a crazy hyena, right? So what I have to do is I prep the night before, right?
Okay.
Prep the night before. What's the hot news? What is it that my listeners need to know about? I can't get everything in there because, you know, we're not a news station. We don't have per se a news station that's a 24-hour news station. And when I came from CNN, I had to realize this is not a news station.
Yeah.
You know, so when we say breaking news, it's one of those things where by the time they get to it, the news is already broken. But, you know, it's one of those things where you do know that there are stories that are important to everyone. There are stories that people are expecting an update on. Those are the stories that I try to follow and to get them to everyone. For me, it entails again, prepping the night before, getting up that morning and seeing what's new, what's fresh, what happened overnight. Because, you know, people be busy when we're sleeping.
Overnight, yes.
People be busy. So what's new, what's come in, I check the wires, I check, you know, other news outlets to see what's going on, things of that nature. I look to see, did Juandolyn do a late-breaking interview?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, and see where we go with that. And then I have to write my news. I have to produce it. I record it. And then, you know, whether I'm live or not, either I'm going to go live or I'm going to make sure that the producers know where those newscasts are and get them in, and for the stations that I'm doing news for. And then after that, I am most likely doing some long-form interviews because, of course, I host Atlanta Up Close with Dr. Maria Boynton.
Right.
And that is an hour-long program. So I am doing those interviews because I am setting those up on my schedule, checking my calendar, seeing who I'm interviewing. Some days I have 3, 4, 5 interviews, depending on the type of segments that I'm doing for that show. And of course, that show airs on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays on WAOK. On Sundays, it airs on WAOK twice. And then it airs on all of our other Odyssey stations as well on Sunday. So I'm doing those interviews, and of course I'm also, being that I am the public affairs director, I'm also responsible for doing the public file, you know, in terms of the shows of interest, the public affairs shows. So I have to keep that file together. So of course you see my emails flying. Okay, everybody, I need you to get those reports into me. Not yesterday, but now, please. So I have to do that as well. So I try to stay as, you know, up to schedule as I can, on task as I can to get it all done, because Leo is shooting for us today. Great job, Leo, by the way. Mm-hmm. And, awesome. You know, when he's not busy with you guys, you know, we might have Fonnie Willis coming in. Yeah. So I'm hitting up Leo saying, hey, Leo, can I get you today or next week or whatever? And if Leo's not busy with you guys, you know, I get Leo, and sometimes I have to leave Leo behind because he's booked and he can't see Usher. that day. So, we've got a lot going on. We can't cover everything in the city of Atlanta, but we try to, if we can't get it in news, we try to at least get it in the public affairs shows and give people more of an understanding, more of a breast of what's going on in the community.
That's great. That's great. So how do you balance life? Because news can be stressful.
What is a life?
busy.
What is a life?
I mean, when do you turn it down and off? Like, do you shut down? Do you relax? How do you do it?
Great question. A lot of people ask me, when do you sleep? Do you sleep? I mean, because when I'm not just talking about people in Atlanta, I'm talking about people outside of Atlanta, because with social media, they'll see me and they'll say, do you rest?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I do.
Yeah.
I do sleep. Sleep is underrated. I will say that.
Okay.
My doctor would like to see me get more sleep.
Okay.
Because it does the body good.
Yeah.
Get that water in. That does the body well as well. And but I do sleep. I turn it off. But of course, it looks like bing. As soon as you've gone to sleep, you see me up again.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
I do get my rest. And so I'm trying to take a vacation soon.
Oh wow, wonderful.
See, even that shocked you.
Yes, it did. Because you are always busy.
Yeah.
Tell us about your passion for community. You're always in the community and working with different organizations like the National Kidney Foundation and others. Yeah. Tell us about your work in the community.
My passion grows daily.
Okay.
You want to know why? Because daily I meet someone new who tells me what I mean to them. So I say, oh, wow. And what's the saying, to whom much is given? And I know and I understand that more and more each day, because whereas I might have someone come up to me and say, girl, I've been listening to you since I was a child. I'm like, really? Thank you for that. But I get it. That means I just added to my group of friends who I am going to share my life with, who I'm going to share the stories with, people who depend on me for their news and information.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke to the Griffin alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta a few weeks ago. I was their Founders Day speaker, and a lady said to me, she said, you do the 3 things I need to know. She said, and my husband has to listen to your 3 things every day. And she said, and I know once that 6:30 comes on, I said, Chris is handling his job. She said, once that second one comes on, she said, it's time for me to get out the door. So based on what people say to me, that allows me to know and allows me to grasp, that new friendship, to know I got somebody else who depends on me every day. Mm-hmm. So that's how I, can describe to you what my connection to the community is. I have people who will tell me, they'll say, how long have you been working at that Odyssey? Because I could have sworn I heard you before then. And I will tell them I was at CNN, and I think, the folks were playing some of my CNN stuff back in the day. And so it is great to hear from the public. I love it when people will come up to me, and there are some people who actually become physical with you, who will grab me and shake me around and say, I just love you. They don't know that my bones can be broken. Thank God nothing has broken yet.
Right.
But I just love the community. I mean, I have met so many wonderful people, Juandolyn, and they greet you with a smile. And if they greet you with a tear, you know that you can rub them, you can hold them, and you might get a smile from them. So my connection to the community, I think I want to thank the community for accepting me and for saying, well, she's been here so long, we might as well like her, or whatever. Because I got to tell you, I've been here. Atlanta means so much to me. The metro Atlanta area and beyond, they mean so much to me because, of course, working in Columbus, Georgia, coming from Columbus, Georgia, going to school in Albany, Georgia, working in New York City, I mean, things of that nature. And it's just great to be here. Wow. I love everybody.
You also love advocating for students, like for financial assistance. Yeah.
You did it. You did it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. We attend HBCUs, and with HBCUs, we know that the money is not overflowing to us, and we've got to find new ways to make it happen. So it's just one of those things. When I graduated from the Albany State University, again, as I said earlier, I became active with the alumni chapters in that we knew that we had to advocate. I had the grants when I was coming through. Grant monies have been cut tremendously for our students.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, I mean, a lot of graduates don't make the kind of money we like to make sometimes to be able to give back in terms of the significance that we wish that we could. So what I do, I go out there and I try to persuade alumni to give back. I mean, yeah, I'm the girl. If I see an Albany State tag, I might follow you for a block or two and say, hey, are you a member of an alumni chapter? You know, to get people involved, because the more you get involved, the more students you can send to your illustrious university, the more the real givers see, oh, they care.
Yeah.
And they might just give us some of those dollars that they are hankering to give out, you know? And that's what I believe in. And yes, the Albany State National Alumni Association awarded me their community award a few times because, you know, I believe in being out there. Not only do you have to give when it's in terms of getting the aid for the students, you treat them well when they are students, when they do believe in what you got going and they say, I want to spend some time at the Albany State University, you're able to say, well, we're going to treat them well. We're going to do some things for them. When they come to Atlanta, we're going to make sure the auxiliaries are taken care of, things of that nature, because it matters, Juandolyn. It truly does.
Yes, it does. What are your words to young women who aspire to be in news and journalism and media about success and sexuality?
Sexuality, wow. I have to tell you, Juandolyn, on the latter point, you know, I have to say believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. You know, you're going to come across it when you're going to be in a maybe a news conference. You know, a piece of advice I can give you is focus on the answers more so than wondering what your next question is going to be.
Yeah.
Because they may have already answered that question you're coming up with because you weren't focused. So that's one of the things I tell them in terms of the professional aspect of it all when it comes to asking the questions. Make sure that this is something that you want to do.
Okay.
I can tell you that each day is going to be different for you. You know, I did a small stint in TV, and of course I'm doing the Oxygen Network. And the thing about it is writing the stories. You need to be a good writer.
Okay.
You need to be able to use grammar well. You know, I know a lot of people, I say in the meetings all the time because of the reports I'm asking y'all to do, I'll say, I know a lot of y'all didn't think that coming in radio, you'd be asked to write a dissertation or to write some paragraphs about stuff that you've got going on. But being able to write well is good when you're coming into this business because you've got to be able to tell people what's going on without making them say, what did they just say? You know, you want them to understand what's going on. What is it I'm trying to tell you about the HBCUs, about this legislation? And, you know, depending on the amount of time they give you, you have to be succinct in delivering it. So, you know, a lot of that comes with experience. So don't expect to be top dog first day out. You know, don't expect to be an award winner first day out.
Okay.
I have to tell you that in my career, I am blessed to say that I've won quite a few news awards. I've helped others win news awards, and it's been a great career. Just to be able to mentor others has been great. But do know that if you want to be in the news business, it's a great business to be in. Determine what medium you want to be in, whether you want to be in radio, TV, whether you want to be behind the scenes. That's even awesome. You know what I'm saying? Determine what you want to do. Nowadays, you can do it all, actually. You know, you can do it all.
You can. This is Woman to Woman. Tell us about beauty, fashion, skin, hair, nails, feet.
She is asking a load of questions here. I got to tell you, when it comes to hair, oh, wow, if you check my Facebook, you'll see today my hair is long and curly. And then I must have used a lot of minoxidil or something, right? But and a few weeks ago, it was sitting up on top of my head looking, you know, I had like this fro thing going on. I experiment with that, and I like doing it because I'm like, gosh, I'm cute in all of it. So, you know, I accept myself for who I am for how I look. You know, when it comes to sexuality, my weight is, of course, we all worry about our weight. But I am loving myself. I'm loving the skin that I'm in. The older that I get, I'm like, girl, please. Who does it like this?
Yeah.
I do. And I like myself. I think you've got to learn to like yourself despite what others might say about you. There's got to be a way that you determine what they say does not matter. You're going to get your bullies. You're going to get your naysayers. You're going to get your critics. You're going to get people who just tell you, girl, you need to wear a better bra next time. I mean, you're going to get people who actually say stuff like that. Just feel confident enough to know. And I think a minister said this one time. The reason they criticize you is because they're sitting there wondering, how is she so happy? And
Yeah.
I'm not. So it comes from a place that has to do with them and not me.
Wow, that's awesome. This is Woman to Woman. Dr. Maria Boynton, I tell you, you are amazing. 40 plus years in the game.
She has to say that. 40 plus.
40 plus.
Thank you,
really
Juandolyn.
to be honored and respected for all that you have done and all that you are doing now with such class and such intellect. And we appreciate you. You are a trailblazer. You are one who's been shining the light on. And we appreciate all that you've done and what you're doing. And your legacy will live for years to come.
I must say it's an honor, too, to be honored with you soon at the state capitol
yeah.
for all of our years in this business. It's an honor, Juandolyn. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. I don't get to say 40 plus for me, I guess, right?
What do you mean? You
I am.
keep
I
going.
am 40 plus.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
It's been great. You know, all the
Yeah.
honors, everybody that I've worked with in my career, it's wonderful.
Wow. Any final words?
Final words. Let's see. Just continue to love you.
Yeah.
I mean, love who you are, and just know there are some who might, you know, say the things to you or about you, or you hear it. It's okay. It's not about you. It's about them. And you keep smiling and keep showing them that if they just keep being as positive as you are, they can be where you are. That's what I have.
Thank you so much,
Love
love.
you, Juandolyn.
Love you too. My sister girl, Woman to Woman, right here. I'm Juandolyn Stokes, host of On Point with Juandolyn Stokes. And make sure you check us out weekdays, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And Woman to Woman, Thursdays at 7 on WAOK's YouTube channel. Have a great one.